Personal brand is a really interesting topic that has become quite a big thing on social media these days. And I think it's interesting because there's no one set definition for what is actually a personal brand. And so I want to talk about this idea of what defines a personal brand and what it is and what it means, and also why it's important to have one and build up one right now. And to me, I feel like personal brand is very much like planting a tree or a garden, where at the start, when you're planting the seeds, you will see absolutely nothing. Like it will just be dirt, barren land, and honestly, you won't see any results for a couple of months or even years, depending on what kind of seeds you're planting. But it's not until the right season hits, the right conditions, and you give it the right amount of nurture and care, and you water it, you give it fertilizer, and all the things it needs to grow and to thrive, that one day when the season comes, when the seeds have germinated enough and it is time for it to grow and break out of the soil, then things usually all blossom at once. You know, the flowers will usually open all at once, and the trees might start growing out of the ground, and you might see a little bit of progress from all your months and years of hard work. And it is really hard to get to that point, because before the blossoming of all these plants that you have nurtured, it's months and years of time that you spent kind of just watering and fertilizing this patch of soil that honestly is not giving you much. And so I think it's really similar to the idea of building a personal brand, because honestly, at the start, and I'm still very much at the start of this as well, when you're building something, it is like you don't see the end, you don't see the results, you don't really get the satisfaction of seeing the response and what it brings to you. But you also just have to believe that you are planting this seed that is going to be important for your future, and it will help you in the future. And even if the plants that blossom and the trees that grow at the end might not be what you envision, you know, maybe the flowers, the color of the flowers is different from what you might have imagined, or what the person that sold you those seeds told you. I think regardless, when those flowers blossom, you will get a sense of achievement, or you will feel satisfied and happy because of the fact that you went through with it. Like you actually took time to water the plants, to fertilize them, to care for them, and do whatever you can to help them grow. And so whatever it becomes, you will be happy about it, because it's kind of like your kid, you know. It's the same as, I guess, well, I'm, you know, obviously not a parent, but I would imagine it to be quite similar to having a child, where you know, you brought this thing basically to life, and it's like a blank piece of paper, and then you are nurturing it, you're guiding it through life, and you're helping it grow into the final version, the best version of themselves. And that is how I see personal brand, because a personal brand is interesting in the fact that it is a reflection of yourself. It's basically the first impression that someone has of you over the internet. And that is, I think that is the power of personal brand. And that is why it's so important to get it, just get it right. Well, not saying that that's right or wrong, in the first place. But I think as long as the personal brand that you're building is you, it's authentic, and it's also kind of what you want to give out to people. As in, if you think about it, right? When you meet someone, you always want to have the best first impression on them. Like, you want them to have the best first impression of you. And so a personal brand is good in the way that you can actually curate it. You can actually build something that you feel like represents you for who you want to be and who you want to become, and basically the best version of yourself. You can build up to that instead of someone, I guess, having a perception of you based off whatever information they have, whatever other people say over you, or whatever things you've done in the past, which might not have represent you right now or who you want to be. And so, yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say with personal brand is the fact that it is a interesting and important thing to grow and to nurture and to build as early as you can, because I think a personal brand, a good one, can grow with you, and it should grow with you, because when you plant a garden, when you plant a tree, it's a organic process. It doesn't just stop at the blossom phase or at the growing phase. Like, flowers blossom and they die, and trees, well, trees are more resilient. They grow for hundreds and sometimes even thousands of years if you allow it, and if people in the future also kind of protect that tree and that environment. And that tree also can provide people oxygen and just all these shade and beautiful scenery. And so in that sense, your personal brand can be your legacy as well, because if you do it right, if you build something that really represents who you are and your mission and your goal and what you want to leave the world with, then that's like leaving a big, strong tree that lasts hundreds and thousands of years for the future generation to look back on and to enjoy, and to just understand what was the history behind this tree and what it represents for them and what it reminds them to be either a better person or to help the world or anything you want to really represent. And so I think a personal brand can extend beyond just personal. It can be an extension of your impact on the world as well. And so that is why I think in the first place, it's really important to just first figure out who you want to be and who you want to become and what you want to represent and embody as a person, what legacy you want to leave with this world. And so from there, you can kind of understand what steps you need to take to become that person and to be a better version of yourself. And therefore, you can build your personal brand around that, and also that will help you to grow. That will help you to slowly grow into that person you want to be. And at the same time, you can also help other people that wants to be a better version of themselves, and maybe your goals or your aspirations or your values might be similar, and therefore you'll naturally attract those people, and then you guys can become this community that grows together and therefore make a better impact on the world. And yeah, I guess that's my thoughts on personal brand, and my take on how it's similar to nurturing a garden and growing a tree, or even nurturing a child. It is a lifelong thing, I think, and it has a potential to have a life beyond yourself and be a legacy that passed down to other generations to help people. And yeah, So this is day 19 of me talking to the camera. Bye.